Let's make sure that we're sitting comfortably. Place our hands on our laps, whether we're in the cross-legged pose or the kneeling posture we call Virasana, palms up. And then let's be settled for just a moment, still and quiet. Let yourself begin to feel grounded into the earth. At this time, when things have been so changing, so evolving, so fast, it's important to take time for yourself to feel grounded, to become still, to become quiet, and to pay attention to your breath. And then even add to your breath. So add a little bit of inhale and add some exhale. Move the exhale from the body slowly and softly. Let the outer body become softer. And let the mind stay with the breath a few more rounds. So we'll open our eyes now and begin our practice. So let's do our arm stretch first. Interweave the fingers together, turn the palms to the sky. Let the head bow forward. And then release. Twist to your right. And then twist to your left. Release. Now stretch your legs out and pump your thighs several times. One of the things I wanted to do with tonight's class, because we're promoting these 3 classes as all-level classes, is to give you some variations during the practice so that you can find a place where it's okay. You don't say, well, I just can't do that. Most of you, if you're our regular students, so let's sit in Baddha Konasana for a little bit, have your arms behind you if you need to help lift your spine. Most of us are regular students and will know exactly what to do when we get to a place where we need some extra support or we need to do something different. But maybe some of us are a little bit newer to the practices and will need some guidance. So we'll try to do that for you. There may be also times where I'm staying with a very beginner practice that I remind some of you more seasoned practitioners, hey, if you want to, at this time, you could do the practice a little bit more in a challenging way. Bring your legs up, stretch your legs out, and let's all go into downward facing dog together. If there's any reason why downward facing dog is difficult for you, it's okay to do something different. You could do a child's pose, or you can do a half dog on your knees with your arms stretched down. For the rest of us who can, we'll come into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Not usually do I get to do the practice with you because I'm looking to see how everyone's doing. So tonight, it'll be a lot of fun for me. I get to do the practice and you get to watch me if you need to see something. On your next breath, inhale, lift the head, and exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. If you need props, like a block or a book, if you have a book handy, you can place them in front of you so that you're not hanging from your back. But otherwise, you can take your hands, place them on the floor, take your hands wide, and bend your elbows up to the side. When you bend your elbows up to the side, it helps release these muscles in your neck. It doesn't let the shoulders and the trapezius muscle bunch up around your ears. Now, bend your knees and inhale your arms up. And then bring your hands to your heart. Good. Let's do a modified sun salutation. And then I'll remind some of you that you can do it a little bit more advanced. I'm putting a blanket down here for my knees and my 2 blocks at the front of the mat for the lunges. We'll start this vinyasa, this movement sequence, in child's pose, reaching the arms forward, and then coming forward with the elbows straight for a modified cobra. Then exhale, let the hips come back, stretch your back out. That's an exhale. And then inhale, back into the modified cobra. Keep the elbows straight and the shoulders, the head and shoulders separate, so the shoulders will stay down and the neck will lengthen up. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, modified cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Now let's step the right foot forward into a lunge. Step the right foot forward, and then bring your blocks onto the mat so that you have a little bit more room for that right rib. So now we're doing our lunge so we can get into the hip flexors. Get those loosened up a little bit. Now that we're at home a lot, we might increase our sitting time. So this is going to be important. Let's take that right leg back. Place the blocks off to the side. Inhale. And as you exhale, take the right leg back and stretch back into child's pose. Now we're ready for another inhale. Cobra with straight elbows. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. Child's pose. Inhale, modified cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Let's do that one more time. And this time, I just want to remind people that find this a little bit not as challenging as they would like. You can go ahead and start doing the Adho Mukha Svanasana to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, which is up dog and down dog. On your next breath, as you inhale, prepare, and exhale, step the left foot forward, bring the blocks onto the mat, the lunge, also known as Svanarasana, the monkey pose. And now remove the blocks off to the side and place your hands on the floor. Take the legs back and you can stretch back. Or some of us will now do downward facing dog. Inhale into upward facing dog. 2 more times. Don't forget to breathe. Exhale into either your child's pose or your downward facing dog pose, and inhale into your upward facing dog pose or your modified cobra. Then everyone will place their knees on the floor and stretch the hips back into child's pose. Slide your hands beneath the shoulders and press your hands into the floor to sit up. Now we'll do our hip openers. I hope everyone's doing okay and feel a little bit warmer. Now remember, you're in control of the thermostat in your house, so you can't blame me if the temperature is not right. Let's do the right leg in Supta Padang Vistasana. We'll take the belt around the right foot at the head of the heel, which is where the seam of the arch and the heel meet. There's one of my puppy dogs. He likes to always remind everyone in the neighborhood that he's the boss and he lives here. The right leg should stay straight by squeezing the thigh muscle and pressing up into the heel. The left leg needs to press down and make sure that that leg rolls in. Notice that my elbows are straight. We remind you of this in class a lot. If you bend the elbows, a lot of us will lift the shoulders and tense up here around the chest and neck. So reach up high and then drop the shoulders. Relax. Check and make sure that you're breathing. Okay, let's release the right leg and do the left leg. Now, when you lift the left leg, if it's difficult for you to reach it, bend your right knee. That'll make it a little bit easy to catch the left leg around the head of the heel. Then once you straighten the left leg and the right leg, you can begin the practice. It's important that the left knee stays straight when stretching the back of the leg. Make sure again that you keep the right leg rolled in. It's sneaky, it wants to roll out, so we'll keep it rolled in and pressing down. Again, check to make sure that your breath is fluid and smooth. You're in control, so if you overstretch your hamstring, you'll have no one to blame but yourself. Now let's release the leg, and we'll be done with Supta Padangusthasana. Now we'll do the outer hip. This is Parivrita Supta Padangusthasana. Take the right leg up, catch at the head of the heel, and in this pose, we take the thumb into the hip crease just to make sure that we're rolling that outer right hip away from the right shoulder. And then you cross the right leg to the left. That may be hard to see for some of you on the video screen, so I'm going to turn this way just so you can see what I've done. I've taken my right leg and I just move it to the left until the big toe lines up with the outer left shoulder. Again, you have to check that left leg. It tends to want to follow the left leg, the right leg to the left, so you have to roll it in. Bring the leg up and release. Let's do the left leg. Take the left leg up, straighten the left leg, straighten the right leg, reach up, drop the shoulders. Put both of the belts into the right hand, stick the left thumb into the left hip crease, and roll the left hip away. Keep, as you cross the leg to the right, make sure your big toe lines up with your shoulder. And then lift the left leg back up and release. I hope we're all doing pretty good so far. So I'm going to sit up for just a second to let you know we're getting ready to do the inner thigh stretch. So for this one, make sure you've got plenty of room to the left and the right, because when you take the leg to the side, you don't really want it necessarily to rest on something unless the leg feels pretty heavy. If it does, you can always use a prop, but you've always got a wall to use. I mean, if you're in your house, you could be out in your backyard, then you just will have to use a prop, right? So let's go ahead. Take the right leg back up, place the belt in your right hand, and we're going to take the left hand and give it something to do. We're going to take it and place it on the left thigh, just to make sure that that left leg knows it needs to stay put, and then take the right leg out to the side. The left hip, the buttock will come up a little bit, but the thigh stays down. Now that leg can get pretty heavy, so if it is pretty heavy, you can always put your arm down, your upper arm, or, like we said, put a prop under the leg, like a blanket or a pillow. As you're pressing out through the right heel, keep in mind that left leg presses down and helps to create some stability. On your next exhale, let's lift that right leg up and release the belt. Now let's do the other side. Now, because I have a wall right beside me to my left, I'm going to roll over and sit up and spin around. Go ahead, take your left leg up. Both of the belt ends into your left hand, right hand on the right thigh, and the leg goes off to the side. I'm using my upper arm on the floor just to help me with some stability and the weight of that left leg. Now remember, I'm not there with you, so I trust you're keeping pretty good alignment. And a few extra things to remember in all of these hip openers. Don't bulge your eyes and don't clench your teeth. On your next exhale, lift the left leg up and release the leg. Now for just a moment, rest, just relax and see how you feel. I'm hoping that if you've had some tension creeping into your body the past few days from learning that Triad Yoga had to close and that some of your favorite restaurants are now only serving takeout and some of our favorite clothing stores are closing, the hips may have gotten tight. But what I hope now is that with our breath and the movements of the postures, we feel a little bit better. Let's bend our knees. and roll over and sit up. Now that the hips are open and we've got a little bit of movement to get warmed up, you know what's next if you take regular classes. This is the best opportunity for some standing poses. So let's set those blocks up at either side of our mat. I'm not there. You may choose not to use blocks, and that's okay to use your hand on your leg. Just don't push down into your knees, and whatever you do, don't go so far down that you crush the spine on the right side when we take triangle pose to the right. Stand in Tadasana, bringing your legs together. Feel the four corners of each of your feet into the earth. Feel the thigh muscles firm against the bones. You hear this instruction a lot, lift the lower abdominals. That'll actually not only support the lumbar spine, but help adjust the pelvis if we tend to stand in a forward pelvic tilt. And then the shoulders back. We begin to, if we practice well enough and often enough, the body begins to feel back at home. Let's bend our knees and bring our hands to our heart and step the feet apart on a big inhale. Turn your left foot in and your right leg out. Those four actions that we gave you, the four corners, the thighs, the lower abdominals, and the shoulders, let's keep those in this pose now as we reach out over the right leg and place our hand on the block or the leg. If you're very open in the hamstrings, you can probably make it all the way to the floor. Again, the deal is as long as you can make it without the ribs falling onto the pelvis. Let's stay here and take several deep breaths. You see the pose with the head turning up a lot. That'll be up to you. But if you do start to look up and you feel tension in the neck, I recommend you simply look forward. Try to balance the four sides of your neck. Now let's come out on a big inhale. Inhale up, and let's follow the pattern of breath together. That's an inhale up, and exhale, turn the feet and the legs forward. Now turn the right foot in and the left leg out. Inhale again with me, and exhale, reach out over the left leg. Trikonasana to the left. Now pause and hold the pose. It's not a stagnant, rigid posture. There's little fine-tunedness and movement and adjustments happening all the time, even though from the outside it may look steady and still. I'll give you a moment. See what you think needs to be adjusted in your posture. Inhale up you come. Turn the feet forward, exhale, bend the knees, inhale, and step the feet together, exhale, let the arms rest by your side. One of my favorites. That is one of the ones I do when there's not a lot of time. I can always count on triangle pose to make me feel better. Let's do warrior two. I like putting that one after triangle pose because triangle pose makes me feel, or trikonasana makes me feel stretchy, and now this posture makes me feel like I'm strengthening something. So let's do it together. Bring your hands to your heart and inhale. Step the feet wide apart. Turn the left foot in and the right leg out. Do those four actions again. The four corners of your feet. The thigh muscles are firm. The lower abdominals are lifted to support the spine and pull energy upwards. And the shoulder blades are down the back with the shoulders back. On the next exhale, bend the right knee. Now, as you're bending the right knee, sometimes in the beginning, we better check and make sure that knee is over that ankle. Sometimes it'll fall forward. So we'll keep moving it back so that the kneecap lines up with the second toe. In this one, because we're not leaning to the side with the weight of gravity pulling on the head, it's very nice to do the head turn and actually get a neck stretch. So we'll gaze over the right fingertips. Oh yeah, it feels nice to hold a pose and challenge yourself. When things start to tremble and shake a little bit, then you know it's about time to come out. Let's hold it for one more breath. Okay. Inhale, come up, and turn your feet forward. That's your exhale. Turn the right foot in and the left leg out. You can always rest your hands on your hips if you need to. Or you can say, let me challenge myself and see if I can keep my arms hovering above the earth like Terry. Inhale with me. And on the exhale, bend that left knee. We'll park that knee right above that ankle again. Oh, and look, because I can see myself, I can tell if I tend to lean a little bit too much to the left. So I'm making sure that I stay pretty vertical in the spine and torso. Then gaze over your left fingertips. You know, it's a lot more fun walking around looking at you all doing it than staying here doing the pose all alone. I love my practice by myself. I love it, but just when I know that I could be with you for your practice, that's a little different. Let's take one more breath here. Let's challenge ourselves with one more breath. On the inhale, straighten the left knee, turn the feet forward, that's your exhale. Bend the knees, that's your inhale. And then as you exhale, the feet will come together and your arms rest by your side. Some of you may be jumping in and out of postures, and please, if you're at home, it's your practice, it'll be fine to do that. I'm going to keep stepping my feet apart because, again, this is a mixed levels class, and I want to make sure that everybody can feel comfortable in their participation with me. Let's do side angle pose. Now in this, I'm going to put my elbow on my knee first, and then I'm going to go to a block. So we'll be doing two different variations. So if you've got a block, you can adjust it to the height that is best for you. And some of you will actually put your hand on the floor because you're very open in your hips and your torso. On the inhalation, we're going to step those feet wide apart. Turn the left foot in and the right leg out. Take another breath. Inhale. Exhale. Bend the knee and then place your elbow on the knee with the palm turned up and take your left arm over your head. The palm of your left hand should face the floor. Now, if my body allows me to take my right arm down a little bit further, I can just place it here on the block, and I can keep going down as long as I don't compress my ribs into my waist. I've got to keep the right side of the torso feeling long. Now, press into your outer left heel and reach into the left fingertips to try to create more length in the left side of the torso. Again, you can turn to look up, but if it hurts your neck because of the weight of the head being pulled on by gravity, then just keep looking forward. A few things to check is make sure that your right knee stays over the ankle from the front view and the side view. Some of you may want to come out a little bit earlier than I invite you to, and that's fine. You're not being recorded, I am. So let's do this together. Inhale, come up, and turn your feet forward, exhaling. Let's do the other side. Turn the right foot in and your left leg out. Inhale with me, and exhale. Bend the left knee now. Let's get that foot a little bit more forward so my knee is over my ankle. On your next exhale, we'll take the elbow to the knee, palm up, and the right arm over the head. Now your left hand, if you wanted to, you could put that on a block, and you can go a little bit lower. And remember, we're still going to try to create a lot of length in the side of the body. So we're going to press into the outer left heel, right heel, and reach into the right fingertips this time. Again, look straight ahead, have the four sides of the neck level, or look up. And now we're ready to come out. Use the breath and the momentum of your right arm to help lift you out. Turn your feet forward. Bend your knees, inhale, and exhale, step your feet together. Rest your arms by your side. It's time to get a little bit more challenging, don't you think? I know you can't answer, but usually when I ask in class, no one answers anyway. So we'll do revolve triangle pose, Parivrtta Trikonasana. I'm going to place the blocks at the front of the mat for this one, because sometimes
with the hamstrings and the hips and the spinal muscles, it's not so easy to twist so much so that we can get the hand on the outside of the leg yet. But if you're there, feel free to put the blocks, leave the blocks behind you. The other thing to remember is that sometimes hamstrings are tight, and if we go too low in the upper body towards the floor, the spine actually does a side bend, and it's hard to twist a spine that's in a side bend. So some of us might need a block and a half. Again, it's all relevant to your individual practice. Now let's get started. What's going to happen is I'm going to start facing you, and then I'm going to turn around so that when I'm in the pose, I'll be facing you. So let's see how this will work. Step your feet wide apart, not as wide as the other poses, but about 3.5 feet for revolved triangle pose. Turn your left leg in this time and your right leg out. Now what will happen is you inhale your left arm up like this, and as you exhale, you begin to come forward and you place your hand on the block, and you're going to start to turn and face away from me, unless you're doing the pose facing the away from the computer, so that you now end up facing me. So what will happen for me is I switch sides. So now I can face you and do the posture. I'm on the right side with you. Instead of mirroring you, I'm now doing the right side. Now notice I'm keeping the left side of my torso long. If my hand goes too low too fast, my shoulders drop and I compress the side of my spine, which makes twisting very difficult. So in this particular posture, even if you needed a chair to get some height, that would be fine. Again, one of my favorite poses. This helps me in my hamstrings, and my hips, and my torso. So many things. Be careful with this top shoulder too. Sometimes when we don't finish the twist, we throw the arm back. So it'd be better to just either keep that arm forward or put the hand on the hip. You can assess your own shoulder and see how it's feeling to decide, well, should I just leave it here where it feels cramped and uncomfortable, or should I just let it rest here? Now, let's take a breath and come out of the posture on a big inhale. Inhale, up you come. Now let's do the other side. I'm going to stay facing away from you this time. Turn your left leg out and your right leg in. Just like this. There goes my dogs again. They're going to be in quarantine soon. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale. And as you exhale, sweep around and place your right hand on the inside of the left foot. And there we are in revolved triangle pose. Oh, by the way, if the back leg heel comes up because of the tight calf muscle, it's all right. And you're more than welcome to put a heel down on a prop like a blanket or a rolled mat, or if you have a wrist wedge or a book, anything handy. Before we come out, let's just assess and see how our 4 points of actions are doing. Are we able to connect the 4 points of the feet into the earth? Are we keeping our thigh muscles strong? Are we keeping the pit of the abdomen lifted? And what about those shoulders? Are they still back, or are you letting them drop forward? You want the shoulders back and the shoulder blades down the back. Now be strong in your legs when you get ready to come out, and that way you won't lose your balance. So inhale, up you come. Turn the feet forward. And on the next breath, as you exhale, step your feet together. And I'm going to turn around now. So I'm have my back to you. I think you're feeling pretty challenged. Is that what I'm getting through the virtual airwaves? So why not do half moon pose? So we'll set the blocks up on either side of the mat as if we were going to do triangle pose again, which we will, but also look to the left and the right and make sure that the props aren't there in your way that will interfere you be able to move that block. If you have any balance issues, you can back up against the wall. Or if you have a knee or a hip on one side that doesn't really let you do the pose well, and it's not safe, then do triangle pose on that side, stay in triangle pose, and on the other side, take advantage of the fact that you can still do half moon on that side. Let's begin. Trikonasana to Ardha Chandrasana. On the inhalation, step your feet wide apart, about 3.5 to 4 feet apart. Turn your left foot in and your right leg out. Reach out over the right leg and place your hand on the block. Take your left hand, place it on your hip, and pause. Let's take a breath. And now let's get ready and do the half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Look down, find something that you can focus on and not take your eyes off of it. Bend the right knee and slip the left foot up towards the right foot and then move your block out a foot away from the little toe side of your right foot. And now we're ready to lift the right leg. And I've gone behind the plant. That way, if I have a startled expression, you don't see it. But what we do want to notice is that I'm using the block to lift up my torso a little bit. So that means that my left leg will be pretty much level to the floor. Spine and leg that's in the air, pretty much two parallel lines. If you want to take the block down a little bit lower, then the leg should go up. Now, because it's a balanced posture and it is a little challenging, it's okay to come out early. But let's all come together, even if we had to come out, and join our practice together in triangle pose now. Let's place the left hand on the hip and bend the right knee and slip that left leg back down to the floor. Bring your block back onto the mat and then inhale, up you come. Turn your feet forward and pause. It's time to do the other side. Let's lift the arms back up. Turn the right foot in and the left leg out. Inhale. And as you exhale, reach out over the left leg and come into Trikonasana. Let's take the right hand, place it on the hip. This is an interesting experience, mirroring and not mirroring, both at the same time. So bend the knee, move your block out. The thumb is going to be in line with the little toe side of your foot. Step your right foot up, and then just give it a try. Oh, there we are. This time you get to see me. I can't hide behind the plant. And then if you feel comfortable, you can take your right arm up. In challenging postures like this, the most important thing to do is just to do your best. And if you fail or if you fall, try again. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Take a deep breath with me. And on the exhale, we'll bend that left knee, reach that right foot back to the floor, and return to triangle pose. Let's pause here in triangle. And then inhale, up you come. Turn the feet forward, bend the knees, inhale, and exhale, step your feet together, let your arms down by your side. And then, let's do what we've talked about in class so many times. Just pause and feel. Feel the effects of what you've done so far. Your warm-up, your movement warm-up, your hip openers, and your standing postures. Now that we're warm, we should probably bring a little bit of balance to the body in something symmetrical before we get into the twists, which are going to be, again, practicing going from side to side, like the standing poses. Let's do a downward facing dog. However, you could actually choose to do something different if you like. You could do a child's pose, or you could do a standing forward bend. I'm going to recommend we do a dog pose. It's sort of like putting an inversion in right here. Exhale, lift the legs up off the floor, and bring yourself into dog pose. Let's do a few little reminders, because sometimes when we're at home, we don't have somebody in our house leading us to our practice. They can remind us of some of the important pieces of this practice. And we might forget and do some things that, not that they're wrong, but we just forget some of the little fine-tunements. Like if we bend the knees, it'll take the hamstrings out for a moment and we can lift the belly bones more. When the pelvis tilts, the low back actually can lengthen on the front side of the spine. Hold that the best you can, and without worrying about that the heels come down too fast, straighten the legs, but keep that feeling that the belly bones maintain that lift. Now, when you your mind wants to put the heels down, instead of going down, just
lengthen them back. Take a deep breath, and on your exhale, come down. All right, now let's set up for Matsyangasana, which is the mermaid twist. And of course, we have to sometimes say the merman twist, since it's really not a mermaid or a merman in the Sanskrit language. So to do that, we've got our legs down in front of us. We're going to take the right leg and place it in the hero pose. That goes like this. Now, that's not everyone's cup of tea. And then the left leg goes into the bound ankle pose, Baddha Konasana. When you bring this leg into Baddha Konasana, the big toe lines up with the top of your knee on the right leg. Now, this is hard for this leg for some people. So let's also show it with a couple of blankets. So we have these blankets. Maybe you only need one. For the demonstration, I'm going to use two. Notice it's a purple one and a yellow one, or purple and gold for ECU. They'll go under the pelvis on the left side, so that with the firm edges forward, because they're better support. And that way now I've got this height over here for my right leg to be in the hero pose with a little bit more comfort. The left leg still does the same thing. Now, because I'm sitting up higher, there's a tendency to fall back a little bit more than I want to when I place my hand on the floor. So if that's the case, you can take one of your blocks, place that behind you, and have that for your left arm. That'll be up to you whether you're using props or not. Now let's take the right hand and place it on the left knee. And we're ready. Inhale and create a feeling of lift, and exhale, turn to your left. And again, inhale. As you're creating that feeling of lift, use your left arm to help you. And then as you exhale and do your twist, use your right arm to help with that twist. Let's stay for a few more breaths. It feels nice to get a good twist around the spinal muscles. And by the way, you're in control. So if you twist too much and you start to feel some resistance, simply back out. Let's release. This leg might be a little bit stiff, so let's be careful as we lean over to the left side and bring it straight, the knee straight up, and then straighten the leg out and give it a little bit of love. You can rub it. And then we'll do the other side. So what I'll do is take my blankets, flip them over like this so that I can now sit on this side, have the right leg in the Baddha Konasana position. I'm sorry, the left leg. Well, that's right leg in the Baddha Konasana position and the left leg in the hero pose. Now remember, you've got this block handy if you're sitting up on blankets. If you're not sitting up on blankets, you probably won't need that block. Let's take a deep breath and inhale. And as we inhale, turn to the right and place your left hand on your right knee and your right arm behind you. Let's continue. Inhale, lift, and exhale, twist. Remember, as you do this practice, your right arm is going to help you with the lift, and your left arm is going to help you with the twist. Also, the lift is done with the inhale, and the twist is done with the exhale. Let's take a couple more breaths. Again, twisting the spinal muscles can wring out so much tension. It's so healthy for the spine. But there's an important thing that I want everyone to always remember. We have to have that lift, that internal lift when we do twists, so that we're opening and creating space in the vertebral column. If we don't take time to create that lift and support it with our lower abdominal muscles and the size of the waist, then we could actually twist on an area that's already compressed. So let's always remember, lift and then twist. Let's release the pose and stretch our legs out. Press your legs into the floor a couple of times. That'll just help you stabilize the knees. And let's do another twist now. Let's do one we call Manichasana 1, We'll do the twist only. Some of you may be familiar with this posture as a forward bend, and also with an arm wrap. But for tonight, the way I'm going to teach it will be for all levels. So it'll be only a twist, and we're not going to wrap the arm. But that'll be something that you at home can do if you'd like to. Because of the nature of this posture, when we bring the right foot up and pull the heel towards the midline of the pose, because of this, sometimes it's nice to sit up on a couple of blankets, or maybe just one. If you're very open in the hips, you probably won't need to sit up on anything, and that'll be fine too. But if you sit on the floor and you notice that you're listing like this, it's probably a good idea to sit up on something. It's a lot more enjoyable to twist a spine that's balanced on both sides. Now, let's do this. Just take the left hand and go ahead and place it behind us. And if you feel like, once again, the floor is kind of way down there, let's use that block. And then the right arm is going to come on the inside of the right leg. When we get the lift, that'll be your left arm again. It's going to push down and help you get the sides of the waist and the pit of the abdomen to support the lift of the spine. When we exhale, we're going to use the back of the right arm on the inside of the right leg. But be careful. Sometimes we don't realize it, but we're pushing that knee out to the side. So if you press into your big toe mound, you'll note that as long as that big toe mound feels connected to the floor, that leg is in the right place, because soon you won't see the leg anymore because you'll be looking to your left. Let's have the palm face the floor. This is your right hand, and make a fist. Let's do this practice together now. Inhale, get the lift, use your left arm, and exhale, turn towards the left. Remember, on that exhale, press the back of your right arm on the inside of the right leg. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, get the lift, and exhale, twist. You gotta watch that left leg too, that sneaky left leg. It'll roll out, so you have to keep rolling it in. Oh, so many things to pay attention to. It keeps the mind out of trouble, doesn't it? One more. To come out, what I'd like for us to do is to actually get an inhale to take us out. So inhale and lift and come out, and then exhale. That way we don't collapse and then come out. Let's switch sides. So now the right leg is straight, and you're going to have to press it down. And the left leg, that heel comes all the way up to the midline of the body. Take the right arm, place it behind you, and use your block if you need to, and take the left arm on the inside of your left knee. Let's turn to the right this time. Inhale, get the lift. Exhale, press the back of your left arm in your left inner knee. Don't forget, when you're inhaling, you're not only just using your right arm to help you with the lift, but also the sides of the waist and those lower abdominal muscles. Also, on the exhale, it's not just an exhale and twist from the inside. You're going to also use that left arm for leverage to help you. And one more. Here we go. Remember, there's an inhale and there's an exhale when we say one more. But then we inhale, keep that lift, and come out. Nice. Okay, stretch your legs out. You know, I was thinking the same thing that you're thinking now. Well, we've done some twisting, and we've done some standing poses, and we've done some hip openers, but we haven't done a serious shoulder opener. All right, you asked for it, so you'll get it. Let's do that practice that we know is a staff pose or dandasana with the shoulders behind us, the hands behind us. We'll stretch our legs out in front of us. So here's staff pose, and then we'll take our hands back behind us and bend the elbows. So if you look, you can see that my elbows are bent, and I think, yeah, there they are. Okay, I've got you sort of far away, so I can't see myself, but the elbows are slightly bent. If you look at my forearms, the forearms are still vertical. And then you have to decide if you need a variation. So if it's hard to bend the elbows, or if your wrists feel uncomfortable, sometimes it's helpful to place the blocks behind you like this, a little bit away from the body, and then have the heel of the hand on the blocks, but have the fingers draping off the side. Or the other option is, well, neither one of those work for me, Terry. I can't use the blocks and I can't put my hands flat on the floor. So you could also just take your belt, hold the belt, and just do a shoulder stretch that doesn't have your hands pressing into the floor or blocks. Just lift your chest with us and lift your arms at the same time. But it'll help you if you turn the arms so that the palms face forward. You can tell the difference between palms facing behind you and palms facing your feet. If you do it with your palms facing the feet, it'll help open up your shoulder more. So let's try. Let's do it this way. But remember, I've given you a host of variations. With the hands behind you, about a block distance between your fingertips and the pelvis. Bend the elbows and now lift the armpit chest. As you lift the armpit chest, which is here, the sides of the chest right here, you want to squeeze the shoulder blades together, pull the shoulder blades down the back, and bow your head. That's a lot to think about, a lot of things to put together. But if you do all of them, it'll help you find that chest and shoulder stretch. There's one more thing you can do. Let's review what we've got, and then we'll add one more thing. So we lifted the sides of the chest. We pulled the shoulder blades down towards the pelvis. We squeeze the shoulder blades together. Now draw your inner elbows towards each other, all while bowing the head. Okay, good. And then release. That'll be one that we'll probably want to keep in our practice for some time, because chest and shoulder muscles get so tight. And we need to have a plethora of practices available to us to help keep from succumbing to that forward chest and forward shoulder problem that we have. It's time now for our back bends, and you probably knew that was coming, because we said we're going to do a little bit of everything. By this time you'll wonder, well, where were the back bends? Well, here they are. But let's do the strengthening back bend first. That would be Shalabhasana or locust pose. Now, I want to give you a couple of variations. Some of you will just lie on the floor and you'll just put the chin right there on the floor, no problem. But some of us might like the forehead to rest on a blanket when we come down. So there's that blanket for the forehead. And then another blanket opened up for the pelvis. Some of you may be doing your practice on carpet, so I doubt very seriously that you need this blanket here under your pelvis. And a lot of people don't need it even on a hard floor, but I just like to remind people, instead of thinking, oh, this is so uncomfortable, I don't really enjoy it, make it so that it's okay on your body. Always do the best you can for yourself. So then, let's check out our position. The pelvis is resting on the blanket, and the forehead has the blanket under it for your neck to be level. So I don't have to be on my chin if that bothers my neck, or I don't have to be on my forehead so low that it interferes with my ability to breathe. When we take our arms beside us, we'll do the variation with the palms face the hips. That'll help us get the arm bones more in external rotation, and we might get a little bit better lift. Pull the back of your pelvis towards your heels to help you get your low back a little extra long. Reach the legs back a little bit extra, one at a time. Now you've got a lot of space back there, and let's inhale up. Let's breathe here for a few rounds. This is challenging for some people if they're weak in their back muscles. So they might not find that they can hold it for very long. If you can't stay with me for a couple more breaths, it's okay to come down, because again, no one will know. So let's take a deep breath, inhale, and on the exhale, down you come and rest. Sometimes people like to cross their forearms and just rest their head on the forearms, or sometimes turn their head to the side with the arms still beside them. Any of that is fine. We're going to do this pose a second time, and this time, let's try to hold it together for 9 breaths. Now, that may seem like an eternity when we're in the middle of it, and you may think I'm breathing slower than you. How unfair, Terry. Or You might think I'm breathing faster than you. We're all different. So I'm going to let you set your 9 breaths to your breath. So it's not about staying with me and my breath, but I am going to count mine so you have something to go with. Let's try it. Let's get all set up. Make one leg long, make the other leg long, and then pull the back of the pelvis towards the heels to help keep some space in the back. Inhale, lift, and now let's begin to count. This is my 3rd. I'm at 5. Here's my number 8. So I have one more. And now we rest. And I hope I don't find out that you all were just watching me while you just light around. You know, it'll feel nice to just do child's pose now. So let's lift up all fours and then stretch the hips back and rest for a moment in child's pose. Breathe into any of the places in your back that feel tight. Now get ready for Cobra, Bhujangasana. In Bhujangasana, we'll do the forearm variation first. However, please, if you feel like you want to just go right up into your full Bhujangasana, that'll be fine. But for those, again, as a mixed level class, I want to make sure everyone knows their options. We'll do it twice, but my first one will be on the forearms. But let's all start with the hands right here at the shoulders. Now let's make those legs long again. Let's create some space in the low back. One thing is to reach the legs back and then place the legs down. The second thing is to pull the back of the pelvis towards the heels. Now use your breath and begin to come up. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. And as you come up, start to slide the hands forward and then prop yourself up on your elbows. Some of you will keep on going into your cobra. But this is a nice place to be for some of us who have some back issues. I'm hoping soon to put together a back care class. We'll probably do it live the first time. We'll do it here on Zoom. That's one of my projects that I'm going to work on. Let's take a deep breath, and on the exhale, everyone come down and rest. Now the second one, I'm going to go up to the full cobra and talk a little bit more about that variation, and you can try it or stay with your cobra on forearms. My hands are beneath my shoulders again. I reach my legs back one at a time, pull the back of the pelvis towards the heels. I'm going to come up, and this time I want to make sure that as I'm coming up, I'm also lifting those lower abdominals up to support the spine from the front. Notice that my elbows are almost straight. If I straighten my elbows and my shoulders go up by my ears, then I need to take my hands slightly forward. The idea is straighten the arms and make the arms look like your legs when you're standing. So you get that solid foundation, but don't reach the shoulders high around your neck or your ears. And then pause and breathe. You can practice with bent elbows, but it's really challenging on the triceps after several breaths. So I hope I'm just going to turn to check you all out. Everyone okay? All right. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, allow yourself to come down. And once again, you can push yourself back into child's pose and rest there for a little bit. We did that shoulder opener a little bit ago to get ourselves ready for bridge pose so that we can actually get a better grip on rolling the shoulders under. So we'll try bridge pose now and see how that goes. If your shoulders are very tight and you can't seem to get up on your outer upper shoulders, it's okay to do the variation like I'm going to do first by gripping the edges of the mat. It's also okay to use a belt, but remember, like what we did in the pose, the Dandasana, when we were doing the shoulder opener, we said have the palms face the feet, as that was to get the shoulders in this position so they open more. The same thing in bridge pose. If you have your palms face up, holding a belt, you'll actually get to roll the shoulders a little bit more. Let's try that. Let's try the variation first, for me anyway, for the tight students, of holding the mat. And some of you can go ahead and do your hand lock. Let's make sure that the feet are hip distance apart. You can gaze down there at them. Very close to the pelvis. Just step up as close as you can, and the feet are hip distance apart. Now let's do a little pelvic tuck to lift the pelvis so that the low back is long again. And then grip the edges of the mat, or go ahead and interlace the fingers, or if you know how to use the belt, go ahead and hold the belt. Tuck the shoulders under, and now we're ready for bridge pose. Press the feet evenly, all 4 points, press the shoulders, and lift up. Notice that as I came up into the bridge pose, I didn't splay my knees. Hard to see from your angle, I'm sure, but I want to keep the 2 thigh bones parallel. And I also want to make sure that I didn't press my neck into the floor, so the voice shouldn't change. So if I could hear you say your name right now, it sounds like you were just speaking to me with your normal voice. Let's stay here for a moment, because this will do a few things. You can tell that the thigh muscles are burning a little bit, perhaps, or you're using them at least. So it's a leg strengthener. It's also the full back, not full back, but the lower back, the buttocks and the hamstring strengthener. It's also a hip flexor opener. Let's take one more breath here, and then on the exhale, down you come. Now this time, some of you interlace the fingers. Some of you may find that that was very comfortable. I'm going to actually hold the belt for this, my second variation. So that's typical of a yogi, always looking around, where is my belt? So here it is, my trusty belt. I'm just going to fold it twice so it's not all over the place. And hold it with the palms up. So I lift my hips and stick it under me and go ahead and have it in my hands. Okay, I think we're ready. Again, check your feet. Hip distance apart. Step the feet close to the pelvis. And make sure that the feet are parallel by. You can lift up and look. Once in the posture, don't turn your head. Press the feet, lift the pelvis with a little pelvic tuck, and then up you come. Onto the shoulders and rise. So when I use a belt, or when I use the sides of the mat, it'll help me get my shoulders more under me. If my shoulders are tight and I try to grip my hands, then I can't roll the shoulders under me. I can't do this preparation for shoulder stand. Let's take a couple more breaths, because it does feel nice to challenge the body. Sometimes we do realize we've had enough and it's necessary to come down. But if you've got that little something extra, you can go an extra breath or two. Why not give it the All-American High School try? And down we come. Release the pose. Let's bring the right knee to the chest. Release, and then bring the left knee to the chest. And release. Okay, now we're going to do the rocking practice that helps the hips as well as the low back. So what you'll do is have your feet, I'll turn this way so you can see the movement of my legs. Have your feet the distance of your mat apart. And what you'll be doing is rocking your legs like this, side to side. So we'll all lie down and take a deep breath. And as you exhale, lower the legs to one side. Inhale, the legs come up, and exhale, the legs to the other side. One of the things I like about this simple practice is it does help the hip joint. It seems more like a twist for us, but because the thigh bone rolls in the hip socket in both directions, internal and external rotation, we actually get a nice massage in there.
It helps produce synovial fluid for the hip joint, and also it helps massage the joint capsule. It's a nice way to finish too after you've done twists and after you've done back bends. So now you're sort of soothing the body out in a more neutral practice. Let's do it one more time, right. Lift. One more time, left. And lift. Now the right knee to the chest. I'm going to turn sideways now for this part of our practice. Right knee to the chest. Stretch the left leg out. And release. Now bring the left knee to the chest and squeeze. And release. Bring both knees to your chest. Hold tight and begin to massage your back side to side. This is a nice way to get a massage in your back body when you can't have personal contact with your massage therapist anymore. Then place your feet on the floor. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. And let's do that again. It may have been a while since you've had a nice full breath. And so let's roll over to the side and sit up for just a moment. Because if we just lie there, we'll go into Shavasana before we're quite ready. So let's sit up and just sort of feel what the practice has done for your body. Remember, tonight was a very general sort of potpourri of a class. It included a warm-up, movement, hip openers, standing postures, twist with neutralizing poses between those, a shoulder opener, and then some back bends. This isn't a simple practice if you've been doing yoga for a while to remember, but it's also going to be soon posted on our YouTube website. I've probably made a lot of mistakes. I'm very familiar with some of them as I was leading the class, but they're just still mistakes that we make in normal day life anyway, so we'll just have to deal with it, won't we? Let's all get ready now for Shavasana. So we want to put maybe a blanket down for the head. Oh, and by the way, don't sign out. You have to do Shavasana because exactly, it's the most important pose. It's part of the practice where you actually get to incorporate everything you've done tonight into your body, into your nervous system. It's very healthy for your soul. So you roll up a blanket perhaps underneath, or you could use your toilet paper rolls. If you bought so much toilet paper now, you can just place those under your knees. And then when you recline, let's do a few adjustments tonight in Shavasana before we actually relax. Sometimes when we set up, we don't realize it, but we've put the heels a little too close to the body. So press the heels away and then relax your legs. Next, check the pelvis. Sometimes we've actually positioned ourselves where the pelvis is a little bit closer to the shoulders than it should be. So if you do a little bit of a pull of the buttock flesh towards the heels, you might find the low back feels a little bit longer. The next adjustment is to pull the shoulder blades down the back. We sometimes realize if we do that, oh, my shoulder blades are a little high up towards the shoulders. Now they're flatter on the floor and pinned more between the ribs and the floor than they would have been had I not done that. Also, lift your arms and turn them a little extra out so that you come more onto the back of the hand instead of rolling towards the little finger side of the hand with the thumbs point up. The next thing is to just take your head and sort of wiggle it side to side and make it feel a little bit longer away from the shoulders and then drop. Everything should relax. Now while you're relaxing, we'll do a body scan. Let's make sure that everything in your face is relaxed. The skin of your forehead, your temples, the muscles that move your eyebrows, the muscles around your eyes, your jaw,
the tongue, everything soft and relaxed. Let your shoulders be heavy on the floor. And move the mind down the left arm and sense, is my left arm fully relaxed? And if not, then do everything you can to relax the left arm. Then put your mind in the right arm, from the shoulder all the way down to the fingertips. Then, after you've investigated both of your arms and you're sure they are relaxed, now move your mind into the back body and feel it flush on the floor. Let the back body relax into the floor, and then let the front body relax towards the back body. Everything in the torso, from the shoulders down to the pelvis, relax. Now move your mind into your left leg, and from the left tip all the way down to the left toe. Investigate, check, make sure that the left leg is relaxed. And do the same thing with your right leg, from the right hip all the way down to the toes. Make sure everything is relaxed. Sometimes we have to actually give ourselves permission to let go and relax. So let's do that for a few minutes. I'll be here with you, watching over you while you practice your Shavasana. Let's take a deep breath into our bodies. Feel ourselves coming back to this moment now. And then bring your awareness to your legs and bend the knees and place your feet flat on the floor close to your pelvis. And then rock your legs side to side a few times. And then we'll roll to the right side. Let's pause here for a moment. And then use your hands and your arms and press yourself up to sit comfortably. I just want to share with you a quote. It's in Adil's book, Fire of Love. It's Ralph Waldo Emerson. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. That quote seemed very appropriate for us this evening. The light within me sees and celebrates that beautiful light within you. Namaste. Thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing some of you in the morning, then maybe some of you tomorrow evening. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.